Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kostubha Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1426. That's right, 1426 classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Pretty amazing. Feel good about that. Sometimes you just got to decide things, right? Sometimes you just have to decide.
What did you decide?
Let's do this podcast.
Oh, okay. The 1,426 times.
Yeah. Sometimes if you don't decide things never change, do they?
Yeah.
Decisions mean it's like a decision is like an incision. You just got to choose, you got to cut, and you got to like move forward.
You know, it's funny you say that because quite a few times people have asked me advice about podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, I want to start a podcast. And then we go through different ideas and details, and it could be like equipment, or it could be, you know, what the theme should be, or things like that. But every single time they've never started, they've never done the podcast, right? Like, they've never actually done. So I start telling people, like I said, this is one most important thing. They say, what's that? Actually do it.
Yeah, you just got to decide to do it. Just got to just do it and show up on a regular basis. And then when the ball gets rolling, then it rolls a little easier. So we do that a lot with our, you know, our health, our diet, our certain parameters we keep in our life, our reading, our sadhana, our chanting. Yeah, I remember
Gotta do it.
One of our regular others out there, Mukunda Kishore, he was like a devotee for a few years. And I remember saying to him, I was like, "Oh, are you getting initiated?" And he goes, "Nah, I can't. I just have too much business going on in my life. I don't think I'll have time to chant." And I was like, "Well, let me just try chanting. Just try it. I mean, we're getting older. Why not just try it?" And I forgot about it. And he doesn't live near me. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm chanting 16 rounds. I've been doing it ever since we went to India. I'm just chanting, and I've just chose to do it." So even if you're not chanting 16 rounds, make a decision. Cut some fat of some wasted time.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? And just add some positive time. Maybe
even if it's one round a day, right?
One round a day. Just make that decision and add that to your life. And you'll be amazed, because decisions and choices towards Krishna, that's a way of expressing love, because love is actually an action. So if you say, well, I'm going to sacrifice this 10 minutes that I was putting towards watching something on YouTube or watching some show, or just sometimes 10 minutes, you can pull 10 minutes out of the thin air, you know.
10 minutes of scrolling. I mean,
10 minutes of
take that right out.
Yeah.
Put this right in.
Yeah, and just 10 minutes of japa, and that step towards Krishna. Krishna's really magic like that. You take a little step towards him, and he takes like 10 running steps towards you.
All right.
It's magical stuff, Kostubha.
Thank you. It's all working.
It really works.
All right.
Glad we're on this path together, Mr. K.
All right. Me too.
Isn't that good news? We're doing this. We're doing this. We're getting older. We're doing it. We're still doing it.
Oh, we're going to talk about getting old. We're going to talk about getting older in the Nugget today, Raghunath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are like, "Oh, you're not getting old. You're young." You don't know that. If you could be 14.
No,
but if you're gonna die tomorrow, you're an old man.
When we go through this nugget today, we're gonna realize that we're like, we're at the end of the changing bodies diorama. Like, we're not at the fully at the end, but like we're definitely getting towards the end.
Yeah.
Why don't we check in with Mara? See what's happening.
Miss Mara, what's up, Miss Mara?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tomorrow's Q&A day.
That's right.
Today's Friday. That makes tomorrow Saturday. So Saturday's Q&A day, and supporting members of our Sage community platform can post questions under the questions for the host tab in our community chat. And we'll pull questions from there to read and answer on the show tomorrow.
All righty.
Also, tune in for our interview on Sunday with Raghunath and special guest Jiva G from the Bhakti Recovery Podcast.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then this Sunday at 11 a.m. through the Urban Davy, our friend Radha Priti is talking about managing conflict from the inside out at 11 a.m.
From the inside out. We're
What
not
was
allowed
that?
in that
Did you
one.
hear that? Ka-ching? What was that?
Who said ka-ching?
What was that?
I heard that too.
I didn't hear anything.
Maybe it was your watch or something.
Anyway, check this out. You know, we're having our Columbus Day weekend with our Wisdom of Sages weekend, which is filling up. If you're interested, please go to wisdomofsages.com and sign up for that. But if you also
aren't interested,
no, but if you
that don't
the day after that Monday, we're having a Seva day, and the next day we go to India. So if you want to come for a day, save a day, or if you want to tag it on to that weekend, you can make a big fat weekend out of this.
That's a tough day to squeeze in your save a day, like right before you take off.
You know what? You got to do that. You got to do it. Mayor's nodding, but I'm saying, you know what? Sometimes you got to step it up.
All right.
And also that Friday, and it's going to be a lot of gardening, a lot of fun outdoor stuff. And the Friday that we start, Jiva G is going to be here hanging, and we're going to have a Bhakti recovery all day retreat. So it's going to start in the morning, and I don't know if we have a way to register for that.
Yeah, I think people go to wisdomofthesages.com. I think it's on there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Great. Looking forward to that.
Autumn BRG retreat. Join Jiva G, 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 on October 11th.
By the way, we have a lot of people out there as others. They just listen to podcasts or driving to work, but they never know that you can actually join us live. And Mara, how do you do that? How do you join live?
Email us.
Email us. That's it.
wisdomofsages108@gmail.com.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought we had some new way to do it.
I don't know. Maybe we do, but I'm not aware of it.
We have a whole new platform. I thought there was some magic button, join live.
Yeah,
we're about to get like a new email address too, like info at that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we'll release that soon.
Changing my email.
But if people want to come to Jiva G's thing, do they have to sign up for the whole autumn retreat, or can they?
No, they can sign up just for the one-day thing.
Okay, there we go. But it's still under the autumn retreat.
It's a special tab. That's
special tab.
Yeah,
that's good.
BRG retreat.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, let's get into this nugget, and
this is a great nugget, man. I use this
dramatically.
I use this nugget. I use this nugget all the time. Yeah. It's from Shakespeare.
It's right up here.
Are you kidding? I've used it in I used it in a shelter song.
Well,
we're all players on a stage filled with joy and rage. The curtain soon descending.
Oh,
like that?
Cool.
Players on the stage.
Oh, the way it flows.
The curtain soon descending. This is Shakespeare. Here. Yeah. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, right?
Yeah.
And one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages.
Oh,
now that part I don't remember. I don't remember that part. 7 ages of his acts, meaning 7 stages of life.
Yeah, I have them here if you want to hear them.
According to Shakespeare, yeah, we'd love to hear that. First of all, what a great Shakespeare is incredibly. He's just so damn insightful.
Oh, incredible.
He might be a devotee right now.
Okay.
I might be Shakespeare, damn it.
I think you are. I think there's a good chance.
He died. Anyway, go on.
He did die.
He died. I was born, maybe.
No, but yeah, it's a great way to look at life where when you think about it, he's saying he's going to give these 7 stages. And when I look at my life, it's like, yeah, click, click, click. It's pretty much, we're all kind of going through similar patterns. It kind of is insightful to kind of step back and look at your life and saying, well, it seems like we're all being put through some kind of system, some kind of machine here, right? Mm-hmm. Where we go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we can kind of step back and witness it. We tend to identify with the stage that we're in and see life through it. But the yogi kind of steps back and says, I'm going through it, rather than seeing their life through it,
Right. Well, the yogi says, yeah, my body's going through this phase of life right now.
Yeah.
And I remember my teenage, I met you in our teenage lives, and we had a different persona, bravado, ego.
yeah.
The subtle body
Yeah.
was
He talks about that.
also
He talks about that
changed.
bravado.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What does he say?
Well, let's start from the beginning. Well, the seven are the schoolboy or the child or the infant. I'm sorry. First is the infant,
Yeah.
and
Sure.
and then comes the schoolboy or the child, the lover, the soldier, the justice or judge, the old man, and then the extreme old age.
We're
So,
not there yet.
but he characterizes them. The baby is mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, or like whining and crying and puking.
Those babies.
We've all been there, though, right?
Yeah. Puking.
And then
Mewling.
the schoolboy's whining schoolboy, creeping like a snail unwillingly to school.
Yeah.
Definitely been there.
Been there, didn't I?
And then there's the lover,
Oh, yeah.
sighing like a furnace with a woeful ballad. Okay.
He's so articulate.
Yeah. And then there's the soldier. Here's the bravado, right? Full of strange oaths.
I vow for my country and for my people, I will do.
Yeah, or our clique or whatever.
Or straight edge, or
our
our
band. Yeah,
or,
scene or
our scene,
gang.
or the dance floor, the dance floor.
Yeah, well, straight edge is full of oaths, right?
Oh, the whole thing was oath. It was oath
one
after
big
oath.
oath.
We're a bunch of Boy Scouts in the pit.
True till death.
Moshing Boy Scouts.
Yeah. Okay,
Hell.
then he's full of oaths, jealous, quick and quarrel. And this is interesting, seeking the bubble of reputation.
We should all have to read Shakespeare.
The schools used to do that.
To be able to vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, seeking the bubble of reputation, right? I'm working so hard to get this rep. That's just going to burst like a little bubble, just in a little bit of time, right?
Sure.
Even in the cannon's mouth, even at great risk, you do stupid stuff when you're a kid.
Oh, are you kidding? I'm going to jump off this. That's part of being
or the things that you'll do, the ways that you'll fight, for your reputation over silly, insignificant things.
Sure.
Then the justice or the judge. This may be where we're at, right? Because it says full of wise saws and modern instances. It's like we're doing that at this very moment. Like we've got a nugget of wisdom for everybody.
Because we are very wise.
We've got it all figured out now.
We can help you.
Okay. And then there's the old man where the deterioration is really setting in, right? So we're in stage 5, Raghunath, I think, right there, stage 5. The old man, lean and slippered pantaloon. He's withering
not in my
away.
pantaloons yet.
Pantaloon, I looked it up. Pantaloon is like some
pajamas,
comical character from Italian dramas or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with spectacles on nose.
Moi.
And pouch on side, like he's got his retirement fund, right? Like he's not really out there earning like he used to be. He's got his retirement fund there.
Yeah,
and he's living off that. His youthful
don't have that yet.
Yeah, right. Maybe we're definitely not on that stage. His youthful hose, well saved. His a world too wide for his shrunk shank. So like his clothes are doing better than he is, right? Like
what Shakespeare is this from?
I'm not sure, but it's called the 7 Ages of Man.
All right, all the world's a stage, and all the men, women, merely players.
Hold on, we didn't get to the last stage.
Okay, sorry.
Then there's the extreme old age, where again you're like a child, and he ends it like this. He says, "Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, in second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Whew, you lose it all."
Strangely enough, my mom, even though she's 98, she's not at that age yet. She's still
tasting,
putting around.
Yeah. You can try to resist, but it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming for me. It's coming for.
And it came for Gajendra, the elephant.
Oh yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, the whole Bhagavad Gita, beginning and part of the Bhagavad Gita is about these players that we are. These players, we're performing almost. We're acting with all the props, right? The prop is my home. The prop is my boyfriend and my girlfriend. The prop is my car. The prop is my hair, my teeth, my beard, my clothing. how I present myself. They're all props, and we try to impress people. And with that impression, we try to lure people into thinking I'm so important and I'm so charming and I'm so wonderful. And if you go against that narrative, you become my enemy, and that's part of my position as well.
Mhm.
Players on a stage, they have their exits and their entrances. Ooh.
It's almost like we're kind of destined to play these roles.
Hmm.
At least most of us will play them. It's almost like we'll all play them in one sense or another, and most people are kind of locked in them pretty solid, like pretty clearly.
It's almost like a karmic role. You get born into a family.
It's karma. Yeah.
It's some karma, and you get born into a family. You didn't ask necessarily, or at least as far as we know, we didn't ask to have those parents. Somehow karmically we did, but it seems like we just, okay, these are your parents. This is where you're going to live. This is how much money your parents have. This is how much money they're going to give you. You're going to be this kid in school, the cool kid, the loser, the guy gets beat on, the artist, the nerd, the whatever, the athlete. You're going to play one of those roles. And we just sort of like, especially if you start having kids, you won't know about this, but you can try to understand me. Okay. You have a kid. Sometimes these kids, they're immediately directed towards the athlete without even like prompting them, or the musician, or that they get drawn right to, almost as if it's been wired into their DNA. Perhaps it is, but we say it's been wired into their karma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure. I became the musician. Out of 7 kids in my family, nobody was into music.
Playing that violin, the sousaphone.
They were builders, they were engineer types, they were, readers. I was just like music from childhood, music. So we have some type of you can call it, DNA, or we say it's some karma, some practice from a previous life, and then we play this role in this life.
Right. And the thing is, again, until I found this whole philosophy and everything, it was kind of like I was just trapped to play it in ignorance. You kind of get moved through it unconsciously.
Well, you forget why you're doing it.
I had no why. It wasn't even
so therefore you just fumbling around with some karma. You can be wealthy without a why. You can be poor without a why. You could be an athlete or a musician without a why. And sometimes we think it's just do your act, and that's a goal. Be perfect. You want to do basketball? Be perfect at basketball. Be the best at basketball. Then it's a win. Be an Olympic this, or be the best at your game. And the devotee says you're still missing the why, and that's why you and I run into this all the time. We have, students or clients or whatever that are very high in their field, but they just never had a why. Yeah. And there still will be that emptiness without that why, and which is we talk about yesterday is, hey, Prema Bhakti is the goal here. Doesn't matter if we get the gold.
Well, definitely the why is important. I think the how is also there too,
Well, once yeah. Okay. The where is probably important too.
What about the who?
The who is very important. And of course, it all comes back to John Travolta in Welcome Back, Kotter. What? Where? Who? Why?
But what I mean by the how is that if we have what yoga gives you is kind of like, maybe I'm destined to pass through these. And that's okay. Part of the yoga thing was you could walk away from them all, Yeah. But even still, you walk away from them all, you still have to grow old, and you still kind of have these certain psychological dispositions that are kind of hard to totally steer yourself away from.
Mm-hmm.
But the how really, the knowledge, the jnana, that's provided in these texts like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, they really give you the ability to pass through them gracefully. Yeah. Kind of focused on the why. It's the focus on the why, which gives you the how.
That's a great way to put it. Can we go through these gracefully?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, because each one of these you're making a fool of yourself practically. It's kind of like looking at like you're a fool at every
I was a
stage.
teenager. What a fool. I mean, sometimes we actually look back at photos of ourselves and I was like, what was I thinking with that haircut? Or what was I thinking with that outfit? Or what was I thinking with that attitude? What was I thinking? The whole what was I thinking? It means we probably didn't do something so gracefully.
We probably weren't thinking so clearly. Yeah.
So now here we are drinking up cups and bowls and liters of knowledge to try to apply to the aging process.
Yeah. And we're reading about Gajendra the elephant, who's really, in his 7 stages here, he's kind of in that soldier lover kind of area,
Right.
And he's not looking at it, he's living in it, right? He's seeing the world through it rather than stepping back and looking at, oh, look, I'm passing through these 7 stages. But when that crocodile gets on him, he fights. And he fights, and we're going to read about it today. He fights for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, he realizes, I'm not going to win this fight. It sinks in. I'm not going to win this fight. And it mentions that he begins to think about life. He enters into the introspective stage. Let me step back from it. Where am I? What are these stages that I'm passing through? Am I meant to just pass through them blindly? Just be ruled by them? Am I just caught up in a stream that just pulls me in a direction and there's nothing I can do about it? Or is there another way to look at this? Is there another way to respond to this? And that's an important point in life right there. Yogi's got to hit that point.
Gandharvika on the message board says it's from As You Like It.
Okay.
I think she's a Renaissance fair type of girl herself.
All right.
Right. All right. That's a great one. Great nugget today, Kastuba.
Well, I think I got to share a little of the credit with
I'm
Shakespeare, but
going to give you all the credit.
All right.
All right. Let's get into the Bhagavatam. Ready? Narayanam namaskrityanam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, and to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know what I've appreciated?
Right, as you were chanting those mantras?
Yeah, well, I was appreciating those mantras, truthfully. I was appreciating how, when I was a new devotee and, you're listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam class and the speaker gives all these mantras in praise and appreciation, my 22-year-old self would be like, all right, get on with it, please. What? Oh, wait a second. Okay.
What's going on?
I got some sound effect toy in my drawer.
Oh, that's what's been making
that
sound.
was making those. Did you hear those or no?
We didn't hear anything, but you mentioned it.
Anyway, my 22-year-old self would be like, okay, get on with it, please. Can we just have the class now? But in Vedic culture, everything starts with appreciations. Everything starts with glorifications. Everything starts with a sort of a big thank you, an elaborate poetic thank you. And I'm appreciating it now. As now in the next stages of my life, I'm like, it's really nice before you start to just appreciate where you got this from and the purifying effect of reading this and
set your mind. Just, you have to get something set.
Yeah.
Not as before you can really receive the message, you got to get your mind in the right place.
Not just a ritual, but a ritual with substance. We get sick of religious things because they seem just ritualistic, but we're trying to do same thing, right? There's the ritual, same thing with depth and substance.
Okay.
That's the mantra. We do the same mantra. We chant that same mantra. It's like, can we do another mantra? There's millions of mantras. We're going to chant the same mantra on our beads every day.
Yeah. With more depth.
More but we got to do it with depth. So it's the same, but with depth. Not perfunctory, not rotely, but with depth.
Why don't we just keep doing it for the rest of the show? Try to go deeper, deeper. Okay, everybody
I
again.
have been going deeper.
Okay, I'm sure you have.
Okay, we're on text 28, sir.
Text 28. Is that what you said?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So
So we got a
Gajendra,
big elephant in
did he get bit yet?
paradise.
Did he get bit? Yeah, he got bit. He just got bit. Last verse, right? Strong crocodile was angry.
Yeah, so big, beautiful recap here. Big, beautiful
Territorial.
elephant in paradise with all his crew, his she elephants, and little guy elephants looking up to him. All the other animals running for their lives. The small animals like rabbits and squirrels, they feel like, wow, the big elephant's here, so that scares away all our predators. Now he comes to this crystalline lake with beautiful flowers, gorgeous flowers growing in the lake, and he goes to take a sip of water. Goes in, sticks his big trunk in the water, snuffs a bunch of water out into his trunk, and then
And you know what? This is that whole territorial thing, right? Animals get territorial. We get territorial. You know, you're in that stage of life. You know, and they get
that's my get off my lawn, get off my property. What do you want?
Crocodile's like, hey, this is my lake, right?
Yeah,
oh, by the way, Raghunath,
what?
that whole thing from the comic book about Agastya Muni,
Yeah,
that's all in Bhagavatam. It's
really?
two chapters away. Yeah, it goes back.
Okay, all right, maybe that. Okay,
Yeah, it goes back.
guess who else is going through the phases of life? Mr. Gus, my dog.
Oh, he's
getting into the old age.
He's at that old
He's
sans teeth, sans ability to climb up on the couch.
He can't even get up on the. Yeah, he can't go downstairs. I got to bring him into the doctors just to do some pain mitigation or something.
Poor Gus.
Okay. Therefore, thereafter, seeing Gajendra, this elephant, in that grave condition, his wives felt very, very sorry and began to cry.
Mm.
The other elephants wanted to help Gajendra, but because of the crocodile's great strength, they could not rescue him by grasping him from behind. So what are you going to do?
How many men have been in that situation one way or another, right? Like you're on your line in a hospital bed and your family's there, your wife is there, your kids are there,
to visit
you're weak.
you. They're all sad. They can't help you. They feel like, oh God, what do we do?
You've kind of been seeing yourself, and maybe they've been seeing you as their support, and now suddenly their support is revealed as being weak and vulnerable.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, King. The elephant. I mean, everyone's going to go to this position one time, but imagine if you were the strongest, the most powerful. Then it's almost like you have more to lose because there's more ego invested in being the Lord, the powerful one, the knowledgeable one, the one who's got all their stuff, their life together. O King, the elephant and the crocodile fought in this way, pulling one another in and out of the water for 1,000 years. What?
Yeah, they can do it.
1,000 years? Come on, let's do it.
They can do it.
You know what? Maybe it's just like celestial time as opposed to our time.
Don't worry about that. It's
Whenever
all we need to know is
like
for a long time.
When I say what, that is just to point out that I also hear this fantastic statement, but we got to understand these are probably happening on different time zones, so to speak.
Time scales. Relative time.
He's on California time. Upon seeing the fight, the demigods were very surprised. Thereafter, because of being pulled into the water and fighting for many long years, the elephant became diminished in his mental, physical, and sensual strength. Yeah. Finally, you're sitting in the hospital bed. When I had COVID, yeah, I definitely had no sensual strength. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to eat anything.
Your mental strength was being questioned at that point too.
My mental strength. You know what? I'd like to go back and listen to those COVID episodes. I wonder if I had some deep realizations, Mara. Mara came in and brought me some food. She's like, am I going to get COVID in here? The nurses were like, yeah, just come on in. We don't care.
I was like, oh gosh, Prabhu, I would come visit you, but I'm sure they won't let me in a COVID ward because it's so contagious.
I was like, I think they do.
They're like, he's like, no, I'm allowed to have visitors. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Not contagious.
They'll probably give me a hazmat suit or something to put on so that I don't catch it from you, right?
They'll take one of these 99-cent masks that don't even work. You can put one of those on. That says on the box, does not prevent communicable diseases. Okay. thereafter being of thereafter because of being pulled in what? Thereafter, because of being pulled into the water and fighting for so many years, the elephant became diminished of his mental, physical, and sensual strength. The crocodile, on the contrary, being an animal of the water, increased in enthusiasm. They
Now,
like it.
they like it, yeah. There's
The
a
home
story about
field.
this verse. We're gonna.
Anyway, his enthusiasm, his physical strength, and his sensual power. He must have been like, tasty.
Would you like to hear the story about this?
Yeah. Yes.
When Prabhupada was translating this and writing his commentaries, he was in
Yes.
Hawaii at the time.
Mm.
And there was one disciple of his he was like a legendary devotee, you know. He really had a lot of heart, you know. Special young man, you know, gave himself to Prabhupada with complete faith.
Text me the name privately.
Gave himself to Prabhupada with complete faith and just served him and just he was like, from what I can pick up, I've met him before, but from what I can pick up, he was just really had a love and a loyalty to Srila Prabhupada that was strong, you know?
Yeah.
He was an incredible kirtan leader. He was a leader. He would go to different parts of the world and kind of spearhead things. And special person. And he took sannyas. He took the formal lifelong vows of renunciation. So that meant he was to be a celibate monk for the rest of his life.
Yeah. What happened?
He had trouble with those vows. Right? He broke the vows.
It's a high bar.
It was a high bar, especially
sometimes we can take these vows like I can do it, we can do it, and then we start to realize like, wait a second, this life is longer than I thought. And these vows it's a pretty high standard, and people are pretty. People are pretty, and
okay, that's good.
People are pretty.
Mara, note that one down.
People are pretty.
People are pretty. So anyway, he had trouble with his vows, and he fell down, and there was some talk about it and some criticism of him that was made public. And Prabhupada was upset.
Humiliating. That is humiliating.
Prabhupada was upset that whatever details, I forget the exact thing, but he said, now you've made it so much harder for him. You know, whoever was talking about it in whatever way they were talking about, Prabhupada wasn't satisfied. He was dissatisfied with people going to their lower nature and talking about it in certain ways and making it more difficult for him to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
And right at that time, he was writing the commentary on this verse came up, right as this whole thing was going on.
Really?
Yeah, well, the talk of this was going on. If you read Hari Sari's diaries about Srila Prabhupada, it talks about them there. I think it's called the Transcendental Diary. Is that what his books are called?
Yeah.
And he talks about this whole thing. But then Prabhupada wrote this commentary on this verse, and he interpreted it and took a lesson from it that was so valuable that he was saying, well, I'll read what he wrote in the commentary. You ready?
Yeah. Yep.
He said, in fighting between the elephant and the crocodile, the difference was that although the elephant was extremely powerful, he was in a foreign place in the water.
Mm.
During 1,000 years of fighting, he could not get any food. And under the circumstances, his bodily strength diminished. And because his bodily strength diminished, his mind also became weak, and his senses less powerful. The crocodile, however, being an animal of the water, had no difficulties. He was getting food, and he was therefore getting mental strength and sensual encouragement.
Mm.
Thus, while the elephant became reduced in strength, the crocodile became more powerful. Now from this we may take the lesson that in our fight with Maya, right, we're all in this world and this has this illusory nature and it's pulling our mind and it's pulling our senses and so on. It's a battle. It can be a battle in life. And he's saying, so in that fight that we have, we should not be in a position in which our strength, enthusiasm, and senses will be unable to fight vigorously. So he was saying, he went on, and I'll read some more from the commentary. I'll jump a little forward. What constitutes a normal condition will not be the same for everyone. What's the water for me or the land for me may be different for someone else, right? And therefore there are divisions of varnashrama. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Especially in this age, Kali Yuga, it is advised that one not take sannyas. So he was saying that he was speaking about his disciple and saying he took this lifelong vow of celibacy,
which is not even recommended.
Which is generally not recommended. He did it for a higher purpose because he wanted to give his life entirely in service of God and so on. But for him, others thrived in that position.
Mm.
But for him, he was losing strength, right? And so he's saying, so therefore one has to make sure that they're in a position where they're gaining strength, in a social position, in a natural position. He says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore recommended, and he recommended, but this is a quote from 10th Canto of Bhagavatam, Stane stitaha shrutigatam tanu van manubi. One may stay in whichever ashram is suitable for them. It is not essential that one takes sannyas. This is Lord Brahma praying. He's saying that it's not that there are certain yogic paths, particularly path of Jnana Yoga, where sannyas is seen like that's, you got to get to that stage where you just renounce everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord Brahma was saying, not necessarily. You could stay in whatever stage it is that gives you strength and the ability for Shrutikatam, Tanvan Manobi, to keep your mind engaged in hearing the glories of Krishna, right? If that means living at home with a family, if that's where you're getting your mental and physical, strength and enthusiasm, then let it be. Keep it focused on the why. For other people, leaving that behind, that might be work for them. And so he really, he just kind of connected that verse with the situation that he saw his disciple had just gone through and shared a really important lesson in life that we need. And it's not just marriage or not marriage or celibacy or not celibacy. It has to do with our family, our occupation, where we live. Perhaps all these things can be considered in the context of, are they giving us strength to hear and chant about Krishna, or are they sapping our strength to hear and chant about Krishna?
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Okay.
Ready?
Thinking about that. I'm just thinking about that young sannyas. And did that person ever come back?
He did.
See, he didn't come back.
Took a long time, but he did.
Yeah. Gets humiliating, and then you feel like, can't do it. And then sometimes it's a blessing. And when we look back at our life and we look at this humiliating time of our life, we think, exactly what I needed. Actually, I needed to be humbled a little bit.
That's there.
It becomes a blessing. Mm-hmm. When the king of the elephants saw that he was under the clutches of the crocodile by the will of providence and being embodied and circumstantially helpless, could not save himself from the danger, he was extremely afraid of being killed. Here it comes. Now it's like, wow, I have to leave my body.
Yep.
You got this, again, bravado, ego, false ideas of strength, and you realize, actually, I'm not so strong.
Yeah.
He consequently thought for a long time and finally reached the following decision. So this is in his mind.
But there's an interesting commentary. You want to read the commentary to this one?
Sure. This is from 31. Everyone in the material world is engaged in a struggle for existence. Check.
Okay.
Struggling to survive. Everyone, right? Even if you have your economic ducks in a row, you might just not have your health ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Or you might have your fitness ducks in a row. You're like,
mental health.
I'm healthy. I've got my money, but I'm just not fit. I'm just out of breath all the time. And whatever it is, there's so many ducks in a row. Or sometimes we have great fitness, but we're broke. Anyway, everyone tries to save himself from danger, but when one is unable to save himself, if he is pious, he takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna. 4 kinds. I was just God. was just thinking of this
Have that,
verse
right?
this morning. Like, I'd love to talk about this verse. I can't believe it. 4 kinds of
It's a miracle.
pious men, namely one who is in danger, one who's in the need of money, one who's searching for knowledge, and one who is inquisitive, begin to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to be saved or to advance.
It's not saying that those make you pious, but it's saying that if you hit one of those categories and you are pious,
Right. Because
then
the
you
next verse
turn
is
to
going to
God.
talk about those who are impious and they have
Yeah.
those same
They'll hit the
problems.
same,
They,
same
they,
issues in
they
life.
make different choices.
They turn away.
So the pious people, the people have this sukriti, and they start to surrender to Krishna.
Read the rest, and it's going to explain more about that.
The king of the elephants, in his condition of danger, decided to seek shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. After considerable thought, he intelligently arrived at this correct decision. Such a decision is not reached by a sinful man. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that those who are pious, sukriti, can decide that in a dangerous or awkward condition, one should seek shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So we should understand, like, a lot of us are, we're in families of people that are just not into what you're into, but they love you. If they've rendered service to you and you're practicing bhakti, guess what? Those people are pious. And that piety stays with the jiva for lifetimes. And then in some condition of life that they go through, the ones we just mentioned, they'll end up taking shelter of Krishna. So what we're doing, even by practicing bhakti, is we're giving ourselves and other people the ability to become pious. Just to have a body in this world, you perform activities that you get this pop, this sinful activity. You get some karma, some negative karma. But to engage in anything in connection with Vishnu, even eating prasad unknowingly, serving devotees unknowingly, singing in kirtan unknowingly, understanding the potency of it, you get some sukriti.
Some sukriti, some piety, some
piety.
What is pious and impious? I looked up the word. There's kind of like in one of those archaic definitions of pious, which are important because Prabhupada often uses those archaic definitions.
Right. Although this sukriti is different in the Gita, right? It's almost like transcendental. It's not just being a good guy. It's your piety connected with Lord Vishnu.
There's the bhakti piety.
Yeah.
But I think this is even talking about on just like someone who's inclined. Well,
I got a squirrel going in my head. Hold on a second. Mara, can you look up Pope Pius? I think he was like the most impious guy ever. Pope Pius. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So, pious, one of the definitions was dutiful or loyal. Right? Dutiful or loyal, especially towards one's parents. Like that's kind of like an archaic way of saying it. Always very pious, they would say like that. And impious would be saying it's not showing respect or reverence.
Huh.
The idea is that two people, we all, I think we all understand that we see the world through different eyes, through different lenses. And when you hit, we're all going to hit these certain points in life. Gajendra found himself in a situation of danger. And what's your inclination when you hit that spot? Is your inclination to get like frustrated at the world, or to get depressed, or to get angry? Or is your inclination to seek something beyond, right? Like this is what it mentions, that this king of elephants is Gajendra. It says that he consequently thought for a long time, which is interesting, right? He thought for a long. What is he thinking? What's on Gajendra's mind? And certainly part of it was like, I have all these attachments and all these desires that I've been fortunate to be living. I have my big family here with many beautiful elephant wives, and I have this beautiful setting that I live in. The whole chapter was just kind of laying out the setting, the beautiful paradise that he was living in. And it seemed like everything is just couldn't be better. And now he's thinking, it's all coming to an end. And so all of his attachments and his sense of identity as the king of elephants, you take that and you add the time factor. That everything that I have, everything that I've accumulated, that there's this time factor attached to it that makes it disappear. And there's nothing that I can do. It's shown its face, and it's coming up on me quick. And so then when you hit that spot, what Prabhupada is saying, what Gita is saying in this verse is that if you have a mindset, if you have a pious mindset, meaning you have an inclination to recognize and respond to the root of existence that's behind everything, like that becomes your your go-to response, then you can reconnect, you know. So Prabhupada wrote in the commentary, he said, what was it, such a decision is not reached by a sinful man. Sinful meaning, you know, we can understand that in terms of karma. That means that someone's mind has been shaped in a certain way due to their actions in life. They've repeatedly demonstrated that I want to see the world as if it's revolving around me. And that's reflected in their actions, and it shapes their mind. You know, more, we've talked about this cycle of karma before, where, you know, your ignorance leads to your making a decision, which leads to a karmic reaction. And then there's this, but one of the aspects of that karmic reaction is that your mind gets shaped to want to think that way and act that way and respond that way again. And you keep doing that, and the grooves get deeper and deeper, to the point where when you're in danger, rather than respond like Gajendra did, let me recognize my vulnerability and let me take shelter of that power that's more powerful than myself. You just think there is no power more powerful than myself. And you just reject even though there's like these so many traditions of wisdom that are speaking about this, that are trying to help one understand, you know, help one just understand really fundamental truths about life, that all of this has to come from somewhere, and there has to be some power that's greater than us. And you just kind of blow all that away, and you respond you could say, in an impious way. You don't come to that decision. So Gajendra thought for a long time, and he just put it all together, you know, that there's this law of action and reaction in this world, and I've been enjoying life according to that law, but that puts you on this wheel, this cycle of pleasure and pain. And now the pain's coming for me. I was up, and now it's coming down. What can I grab onto that's solid, that time does not eat away at? And that's going to be reflected in his prayers.
We have time? We have time for any more, sir?
Do we have time? Well, I suppose not. We could start tomorrow, because we only got a minute left. So yeah, why don't we?
I was thinking when we were reading this, it's sort of like we are practicing that, and everyone's going to feel a little pain in this world. Maybe today, maybe we're going to feel some sadness or depression. What are we going to lean into? What are we going to take shelter of? Can we bring it more towards God, towards surrender, towards sacred literature? Having a bad day, open the Bhagavad Gita. Having a bad day, open the Krishna book. Having a bad day, open the Bhagavatam, first canto. You know, when you're feeling like that pain in the mind, often it's just the mind. It's nothing, generally no one's sticking a needle, in your neck. It's just sort of, we're going through some pain in our mind, some fear, some worry. Open the Bhagavatam. Let the Bhagavatam speak to you. Otherwise, we stick our head in the sand. And this is what materialists accuse religionists of. But this is how materialists deal with the pain of the world. They medicate it with some intoxicants, with some smoking, with some drinking, with some television. Television's a great way to medicate yourself. You don't have to think. You can live
instead of thinking for a long time.
Right. Instead of thinking, you just turn off the brain and just live vicariously through something, some type of entertainment, be it happy or even vulgar or like horror. You can medicate yourself with horror. So anyway, we're practicing leaning into bhakti. All right.
Margie, any takeaways today?
Yes.
What you got?
Make the decision and choose Krishna.
Look at Raghunath. He's zoned out right now.
Scrolling.
Just a little bit of show left here.
Yeah, I was looking at her phone.
Okay.
At our phone.
Yeah, I was looking at your phone that you're reading from the.
Looked like you maybe were reading the chat board, but
Maybe a little chat board.
You guys.
take one step and he takes 10 running steps towards you.
Boom! He'll catch you. Caught by Krishna.
We're destined to perform a karmic role for a few days.
That's right.
Mhm.
Spiritual knowledge allows us to pass through stages of life gracefully.
Try to do it more gracefully.
A little gracefully. Not like, I'm getting old. Ah!" You're looking in the mirror. Look at my face. Ever do that one? Look at my face. Look at my nose. I remember sitting on my dad's lap, looking at his nose, just going, "Man, what's up with your nose, Dad?" It's like,
What was up with his nose?
you know, just how noses get when you get
Getting a little
older. It
gnarled.
becomes a big mess.
Mhm.
All right.
Appreciation sets your mind in the right place to absorb knowledge.
Okay.
In our battle with Maya, be in a position to build strength and enthusiasm.
That's an important one.
Mm. We're all struggling to get our ducks in a row.
Yeah. I wonder where that analogy came from. Somebody look that up. Ducks in a row.
We're practicing taking shelter of Krishna during times of pain and fear.
Yeah, and by the way, if you feel like, well, I don't, I can't do it. It's because we've been practicing other things. We've been practicing taking shelter of other things, and therefore we're still going back to those things. But we're practicing. We're practicing.
And
And
people are pretty.
people are pretty. You know, so I was thinking about becoming a sannyas, but people are pretty. And that doesn't work if you completely acknowledge people are pretty all day long, 24/7. Not good for your sannyas. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Join us on Zoom sometime. It's fun. We get to look at each other, wave to each other occasionally.
So
We get to read each other's messages.
And if you join our community platform, the Sage community platform at listentosages.com, that's how you get the links.
Oh, you
To
can't get
join.
the links otherwise? We made it exclusive to get on Zoom? I'm curious. You got to be on the Sage community platform.
Or you can email us at wisdomofthesage108.
We had talked about that.
But yeah.
I can't remember what we decided.
Making it a perk.
Making it a perk now. Maybe if you're on it now, but you're not a member of the Sage community platform,
grandfathering
you just got
everyone
grandfathered in.
Yeah.
It's okay. Or someone gave you the secret codes. Like,
You can share them.
you can share.
We're trying to spread the Bhagavatam.
We're just trying to spread the Bhagavatam. We're leading with bhakti, and it's nice if we can make some money doing it just because we have lives. But we just like you here, truthfully. We just like people, and we like bhakti, and this is our thing. We like reading the Bhagavatam on a regular basis, and we like you.